"Oh, Dad, what are you going to do? Throw us out on the street? You don't have the balls for that." Those words, Ryan, my oldest son, said them to me while drinking a beer in my living room. He had his feet on my table, dirty, grimy feet, and he looked at me with that smile. That damn smile that told me he wasn't taking me seriously. "My name is Henry Miller. I'm 67 years old. I'm a carpenter. Well, I was. I'm retired now. I live here in Peoria. In this house I built with my own 2 hands. And that day something inside me broke. So listen to this story. Listen all the way to the end. Because what I'm about to tell you is going to shake something deep inside you. And when I'm done, I want you to tell me, what would you have done in my place? Oh, and one more thing. Share this with anyone you think needs to hear it, and then tell me, what city are you listening from? It was a Tuesday morning. I remember it well because Tuesdays have always been my grocery day. Since I retired, I try to keep a routine. I get up early, make my coffee, sit on the patio, watch the sun come up. It's the little things, you know? The things that keep you sane when you live alone. Well, I don't live alone. That's the thing. I live with my 2 sons. Ryan is 34, Jason is 31. 2 adult men, 2 grown men, or at least they're supposed to be. That morning, I came down to the kitchen around 7. The house was a disaster. Beer bottles on the table, dirty dishes in the sink, crumbs everywhere. The living room smelled like stale cigarettes and cheap alcohol. Jason had come home drunk the night before. As usual. I heard him stumble in, knocking things over, cussing. At 4 in the morning, 4 a.m. And there I was, awake, listening to my 3 one-year-old son come in like he was 15. I started cleaning. Like always, I picked up the bottles, washed the dishes, swept the floor, and as I did it, I felt something growing inside me. A rage, a sadness. I don't know. It was a weird mix. I finished cleaning around 8:30. I poured myself another coffee. I sat at the kitchen table, and I just stayed there, thinking about how it had come to this. Ryan came downstairs around 11. No shirt, in shorts, scratching his stomach. He opened the fridge, took out a soda. He didn't even say good morning. He went straight to the living room and turned on the TV. Volume high. I was still in the kitchen, quiet, watching. Jason showed up around noon, in the same clothes as yesterday. Red eyes, smelling like a bar. He went to the bathroom, threw up, flushed, and went back to his room. And I was there, watching all of it, and I asked myself, when did I lose control? When did this get so out of hand? I don't know. But that day I decided enough was enough. I got up, I turned off the TV. Ryan looked at me, angry. "Hey, I was watching that." "I know," I said, "but I need to talk to you. And your brother." I yelled up the stairs. "Jason, get down here!" No answer. I went up myself. I knocked on his door. "Jason, get down here, now." I got them both in the living room. They were in a bad mood. You could tell. Ryan had his arms crossed. Jason was still half asleep. And I was standing in front of them. My heart was pounding. Because I knew what I was about to say. There was no going back. "I brought you here because I need to tell you something," I started. My voice sounded firmer than I felt inside. "And I need you to listen." Jason yawned. Ryan pulled out his phone and started scrolling. "Put that away," I said. He looked at me, annoyed, but he put it away. "Look, this can't go on," I continued. "I can't do it all anymore. The house, the bills, everything." Ryan snorted. "Are you starting with this again, Dad?" "Yes," I said. "I am starting with this again, because you never listen." "You don't pay for anything," I told them. "Nothing. Not the lights, not the water, not the gas, not the food, nothing. It all comes out of my pension. And my pension isn't enough to support 3 people, especially not when you leave everything on, when you waste water like it's free. When the food runs out and you don't replace anything." Jason laughed. A dry, cynical laugh. "Well, work more, Dad." "Work more? I'm 67 years old. I worked 42 years of my life. I've done my part. I built this house," I said. And my voice broke a little. "I built it for you, to have a roof over your heads, so you would never lack anything. But this wasn't the deal. You're men now. You're not kids. And I need you to start acting like men. Ryan stood up. Are you done with your sermon? No, I said. I'm not done. Sit down. He sat, but with that attitude, that mocking attitude, like nothing I said mattered. And that hurt. It hurt more than I want to admit. I'm going to give you a choice, I continued. You can stay here, but if you stay, you're going to have to pay rent and utilities and chip in for food. Or you can leave, find your own place, your own life. There was a silence, an uncomfortable, long silence. And then Jason said, Are you kicking us out? I'm not kicking you out, I said. I'm giving you a choice. This is bullshit, Ryan said. This is our house too. No, I said. This is my house. I built it. I paid for it. I've maintained it. You have only lived here. Dad, you're getting old, Jason said. You're starting to lose it. I'm not crazy, I said. I'm tired. I'm tired of being the only one who cares, the only one who pays, the only one who cleans, the only one who does anything in this house. Well, get used to it, Ryan said with that smile, because nobody is going anywhere. And that's when I said it, what I had been thinking all morning. You have 30 days. They looked at me, confused. 30 days for what? Jason asked. 30 days to decide, I said. Either you start paying your share, or you find another place to live. 30 days. No more. They laughed, both of them, at the same time, as if I had told the funniest joke in the world. Ryan got up. He walked over to me. He put his hand on my shoulder, condescending, like I was a child. Oh, Dad, what are you going to do? Throw us out on the street? You don't have the balls for that. And he left, walked up the stairs. Jason followed him, still laughing. I was left alone in the living room, heartbroken, boiling with rage, my hands trembling. And for the first time in a long time, for the first time since my Lucy left, I felt something. I felt determination. Because they didn't know me. Not really. They thought I was a weak old man, an old man who would just keep taking it. But they were wrong. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat at the kitchen table with a notebook and a pencil, and I started doing the math, making plans. Because if life taught me one thing, it's that when you decide something, when you truly decide, there's no turning back. And I had decided. 30 days. I had given them 30 days. But deep down, I knew they wouldn't do anything, that they would take it as a joke, like everything, like always. And that was fine, because I wasn't going to sit around and do nothing either. I was going to do what I had to do, what I should have done a long time ago. The next day I got up early again, made my coffee, and as I drank it, I looked at my house that I built, brick by brick, and I felt something strange, a mix of love and pain, because this house was my life, but it had also become my prison, and I was ready to be free. The first 5 days passed as if nothing had happened, as if I hadn't said a word. Ryan kept his routine, waking up late, watching TV, going out, who knows where, coming back, eating the food I bought, and starting all over. Jason, the same. He worked his shifts at the convenience store. 3 days a week, 4 hours a day. Sure, he'd get his paycheck and the next day he'd be borrowing money for cigarettes. I watched them, in silence, because I wanted to see if one of them would react. If one of them would say something. If one of them would take me seriously. But nothing. Absolutely nothing. It was like my words went in one ear and out the other. Or worse. Like I'd never said them at all. On day 6, the electric bill came. I opened it in the kitchen. $450. Almost $500. Again, I felt the blood rush to my head. I went to the living room. Ryan was sprawled on the couch, watching a movie, with the air conditioning blasting. Turn that off, I said. He looked at me like I was speaking Chinese. It's hot, Dad. Yes, it's hot. But this costs money. And you don't pay for anything. He got up, annoyed, turned off the AC, and went to his room, slamming the door. I just stood there, with the bill in my hand, doing the math in my head. My pension is $1,800 a month. 1,800. From that comes the electricity, the water, the gas, the phone, the internet that they use, the food, everything. How is that supposed to be enough? It isn't. And I have to cut back on my own needs so they can live comfortably. That night, while I ate dinner alone in the kitchen, because they never eat with me, I remembered something. From when Ryan was little, he must have been about 7. We were in the workshop. I was working on a piece of furniture. He was there, watching me, fascinated. "Dad, can you teach me?" he asked. "Of course, son. Come here." I gave him a piece of sandpaper. I showed him how to smooth the wood. Slow, patient. He looked so happy, so proud to be helping me. What happened to that boy? When did he turn into this man who looks at me with contempt? I don't know. But something was lost along the way, and it hurts. It hurts a lot to think about that. The next day was Sunday. I decided to do something I hadn't done in a long time. I went to church. I'm not very religious, but my Lucy was. She used to take me every Sunday, and when she left, I stopped going. I don't know. I felt like God had taken the only thing that mattered to me. But that day I needed something. I don't know if it was answers or peace or just a place where I could think. I sat in the back, in the last pew. Father Michael was giving the sermon, a good man, the kind who really cares about his community. He spoke about forgiveness, about family, about responsibility, and every word cut me deeper. Because I had forgiven so much. I had put up with so much. But until when? How long does a person have to keep forgiving? After Mass, I stayed there for a while, sitting, looking at the altar, and I thought about Lucy, how she always saw the good in our sons. Always. "Henry, be patient," she would tell me when I complained. "They'll mature, they'll settle down." But years have passed, and nothing has changed. If anything, they've gotten worse. When I got home, Ryan was in the living room with 2 friends. They had beers. They were watching football, yelling, making a mess. I went to the kitchen. The sink was full of dirty dishes again. The trash was overflowing. No one had cleaned anything. I took off my church shirt, put on an old t-shirt, and I started cleaning. Again. While I was washing the dishes, one of Ryan's friends came into the kitchen to get more beers from the fridge. He saw me there, washing. And I don't know if it was my imagination, but I felt pity in his eyes. Pity. Like he was thinking, poor old man, cleaning up after his son and his buddies. And that humiliated me. It humiliated me more than I can explain. I finished cleaning. I went to my room. I sat on the bed. And that's when I saw it. The picture, the one I keep on my nightstand, of when Lucy and I were young, newlyweds. She was in that white dress. I was in my borrowed suit, both of us smiling, so happy, so full of dreams. I picked it up, and I talked to her, as if she could hear me. "I don't know what to do, my love," I said. "I don't know if I'm being too harsh, or if I should just put up with more. You always knew what to do with them. But I just don't know anymore." And I cried. I cried like I hadn't cried since her funeral, because I felt so alone, so lost, so tired. 10 more days passed, and nothing changed. Ryan still wasn't working. Jason still spent everything on booze. And I kept paying for everything, kept cleaning everything, kept putting up with everything. But something inside me was changing. Something dark, something I hadn't felt before. It was like a decision taking shape, like a door closing. On day 16, something happened. I went to the grocery store to get the week's groceries. I came in carrying the bags, heavy bags, several of them. Ryan was in the living room. He saw me come in, loaded down, struggling, and he didn't get up. He didn't even offer to help. He just turned his head and kept looking at his phone. I left the bags in the kitchen. My back hurt. My knees. I'm 67 years old. I'm not built for carrying so much weight anymore. I started putting things away, and as I did, I realized something. I realized I was angry. Very angry. Not just with them, but with myself. Because I had allowed this. I had created these monsters. Because that's what they were. Monsters. Monsters of selfishness, of ingratitude, of laziness. That night I ate dinner alone again. They had gone out, both of them, without telling me where, without telling me when they'd be back, as if I was the tenant and they were the owners. I stayed there, in the kitchen, in silence, and I started to remember how things were before. When Ryan was born, I worked in a small shop. I earned very little, but everything I earned was for him, for diapers, for milk, for his crib. Lucy and I lived in a rented room, tiny, with a shared bathroom, but we were happy, because we had a purpose, a son, a family to build. I worked double shifts for 5 years, 5 years saving every dollar, to buy this plot of land, to start building this house. On weekends, I would come here, with my tools, and I'd start laying the foundation, brick by brick. Lucy would come with me, with Ryan in her arms, and later with Jason too, the 2 kids playing on the dirt while I worked. Someday, this will be our house, I told them, our forever home. And I did it. I finished the house when Ryan was 10. We moved in. It was the happiest day of my life. Watching my kids run through their house, through the rooms, through the yard, Lucy crying with happiness. We did it, Henry, she told me. We did it. But now that house I built with so much love had become a burden, a place where I didn't feel respected, where I didn't feel loved, only useful. Useful for paying, useful for cleaning, useful for putting up with it all. Ryan came in around 2 in the morning. I heard him, stumbling, bumping into walls. Drunk. Again. He opened the fridge, made himself some tacos with whatever he found, left everything out, and went to his room. I was awake, in my bed, listening to it all, and I felt something. I felt something inside me hardening, like cement setting, like metal cooling. 20 days had passed. 20 of the 30 I had given them, and they were still acting like nothing, like I had been kidding. But I wasn't kidding, and I was about to prove it. On day 21 I did something small, but significant. I went to the bank. I took out all my money, everything, the little I had in savings, $300. I put it in an envelope, in my room, under lock and key. Because I had made a decision with no turning back, and I needed to be prepared. That afternoon I sat on the patio, looking at the plants Lucy had planted. They were still there, still blooming, against all odds. And I thought, if those plants could survive without her, so can I. I can also keep going, no matter what comes. Because something was coming, something big, and I was ready. Day 22 dawned different. I don't know how to explain it, but I felt different. Firmer. More decided. I got up early like always, made my coffee, but this time I didn't sit on the patio. This time I went to my room. I opened the closet, and I took out a box. An old cardboard box, full of papers. Inside were all the house documents, the deed, the receipts for the materials I bought to build it, the invoices, everything. I sat on the bed and started reviewing every paper, one by one. This is mine, I thought. All of this is mine. I paid for it. I built it, and nobody is going to take it from me. I put the important papers in a new folder. I put it in my backpack, the same old backpack I used when I went to the workshop. And I left. I left the house without telling anyone. They weren't even awake yet. It was 7 in the morning. I took the bus. I went downtown. To the county office. I needed to verify something. I needed to make sure everything was in order. That the house was in my name. Only my name. I stood in line. I waited my turn. And when they called me, I asked for a certified copy of the deed. "What do you need it for, sir?" the girl at the counter asked. "Personal matters," I said. I didn't want to give details. They gave me the copy. I paid and I left. I walked around downtown for a while, aimlessly, just thinking about everything that had happened, about everything that was going to happen. I passed by the park where Lucy and I met, 40 years ago. 40 years. She used to sell flowers there, at a small stand. I passed by every day after work. One day I worked up the courage and bought a bouquet. "They're for my mom," I told her. A lie. I didn't have a mom. Well, I did, but I didn't live with her anymore. Lucy laughed. "Sure," she said, "but she sold them to me. And from that day on, I started buying flowers every week. Until one day, I told her the truth. They're not for my mom. They're for you. But I didn't have the guts to tell you." She turned red, so red, and she agreed to go out with me. That's how it all started, with a bouquet of flowers and an innocent lie. I sat on a park bench, the same one we used to sit on, and I talked to her, as if she was there. "Lucy, the boys don't understand. They don't understand anything, and I can't do this anymore. I can't keep living like this. Forgive me if what I'm about to do hurts you, but I don't have another choice." The wind blew, softly, and for a moment I felt like she had answered me, like she was telling me it was okay, that I should do what I had to do. I got back to the house around 2 in the afternoon. Ryan was in the living room, as always. "Where have you been?" he asked, without looking up from his phone. "Out," I said. I went to the kitchen. There were dirty dishes again, but this time I didn't wash them. I left them there. I made myself a sandwich. I ate it, and I went to my room. I locked the door, something I never did, and I took out a new notebook. I started to write, to make a list of everything I had to do, step by step, because if I was going to do this, I had to do it right. No mistakes, no getting carried away by emotions. First point, secure my documents. That was done. Second point, talk to a lawyer. I needed to know my rights. What could I do, what couldn't I do? Third point, prepare a plan B, in case things got ugly. Fourth point, stay firm. Don't waver. Don't let them convince me otherwise. That night, during dinner, well, my dinner, because they didn't eat with me, Jason came home, drunk, again, but this time he brought a girl, one I had never seen. He took her to his room, directly, without introducing her, without asking for permission, as if this was his house and I was the guest. I heard music, laughter, noises, and I was there, in my room, with the door locked, clenching my fists, breathing deep, counting the days. 8 more days. Just 8 more days. The next day was Saturday. Jason didn't have work. Ryan didn't either, because Ryan never had work. They slept in late. I took advantage. I left early. I went to a lawyer's office someone had recommended. Mr. Martinez, an older man, about my age. He saw me in his office. "Tell me, Mr. Miller, how can I help you?" I told him everything, everything, from the beginning to that day. He listened without interrupting, taking notes. When I finished, he took off his glasses. He cleaned them, and he looked me straight in the eye. "Mr. Miller, you have every right to do what you want with your property. It's yours. But they're your sons. Are you sure about this?" "More sure than ever," I said. "All right," he said. "Then this is what we're going to do." He explained the whole process, the legal steps, what I could do, what I shouldn't do. He gave me papers, documents, a blank lease agreement, in case I decided to formally charge them rent. And if they don't agree to pay, well, you have to start an eviction process. It will take time, but it can be done. "How long does it take?" I asked. "About 3 months, maybe 4. Depends on the judge." "That's a long time," I said. "I know, but it's the law. You can't just throw them on the street without a legal process, even if it's your house." "I understand," I said. "How much do I owe you?" "This consultation is free, Mr. Miller. I like you, and I understand your situation. If you need me to start the legal process, I'll charge you then. But for now, go home. Talk to your sons one more time. See if they react." I thanked him. I left there with the papers under my arm, and with a mix of relief and sadness. Relief because I knew I had options. Sadness because it had come to this, having to see a lawyer to deal with my own children. When I got home, there was a car parked outside. I didn't recognize it. I went in, and there they were. Ryan and his friends. 4 guys. Drinking beer. Smoking. The living room was a disaster. My living room. Dad, say hi, Ryan told me, casually, like this was normal. I greeted them, reluctantly, and I went straight to my room. I locked the door, and I threw myself on the bed. Tired. So tired. Not physically, but emotionally, spiritually. I didn't want to fight anymore. I didn't want to argue anymore. I just wanted peace. Peace in my own home. I grabbed the photo of Lucy again. I miss you so much, my love, I told it. So much. You knew how to handle them, how to talk to them. I don't. I only know how to work, to build, to provide. But this, I don't know how to fix this. And for the first time in a long time, I wished she was there. Not just for the boys, but for me. Because I needed her. I needed her so much. That night I stayed in my room. I didn't even come out for dinner. I heard when Ryan's friends left. Around 11. I heard when Jason came in. Around 1. Drunk again. And I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, counting the days. 7 days. 7 days left. And something was going to change. It had to change. Because I couldn't go on like this. I wouldn't go on like this. Day 25 arrived faster than I thought. Only 5 days left. 5 days until the deadline I had given them. And they were still acting like nothing. Like I didn't exist. Like my words had no weight. That morning I woke up with a pain in my chest. It wasn't physical. It was something deeper, darker. It was the weight of everything I had been carrying. And suddenly I remembered. I remembered the day Lucy died. Because it was a day like this. A random Monday. Gray, sad. Lucy got sick 6 years ago. At first we thought it was the flu, a cough, fatigue. It's just age, Henry, she told me. But I insisted. I took her to the doctor. They ran tests. And when they gave us the results, my world collapsed. Cancer. Lung cancer. Advanced. She has 6 months, maybe a year, the doctor said. With such coldness. Like he was talking about the weather. Lucy cried. I held her, and I promised her we would fight, that we wouldn't give up. The boys were there. In the office. Ryan was 28. Jason was 25. I told them we had to be united, that their mother needed us. Yes, Dad, they said. Count on us. But it was a lie. It was all a lie. The first few days they were present. But after that, they started to disappear. Ryan said he couldn't stand to see her like that. Weak, no hair from the chemo. It hurts too much, Dad. It hurts me too, I'd tell him. But we have to be with her. I will. I'll go later. But he wouldn't go. Jason was worse. He'd go to the hospital once a week. 10 minutes. 15. Max. Hi, Mom. How are you? He'd sit down, look at his phone, and leave. I have to work, Dad, you know. Yeah, I know. His job was more important than his dying mother. I stayed with her. Whole days. Whole nights. In that hospital room that smelled like disinfectant and death. I held her hand. I read to her. I told her stories. About when we were young. About when we built the house. About when the boys were little. Remember, my love? And she would smile. Barely. But she smiled. One night, around 3 in the morning, Lucy squeezed my hand. Hard. Harder than she had been able to in weeks. Henry, she said with that weak voice. Tell me, my love. The boys. Take care of them, please. Don't leave them alone. I promised her. I promised I would take care of them. That I would be with them. That we would be okay. She died 2 days later. In the early morning, I was asleep in the chair next to her bed. I woke up because the machine started beeping. The nurses ran in. I stood up, confused, scared. Mr. Miller, we're so sorry. And just like that, she was gone. The woman of my life, my partner, my everything. I called the boys. It's Mom. She just passed. There was silence on the other end. And then, we're on our way, Dad. They arrived an hour later. Ryan with swollen eyes. Jason serious, quiet. They saw their mother. There, still, cold, and they cried. But I felt that cry was too late. Way too late. The funeral was small. Close family. Some friends. The boys were there, standing next to me. but distant, like they were fulfilling an obligation, not like they were saying goodbye to their mother. After the burial, back at the house, I waited for us to say something, to talk, to hug each other, but they just went to their rooms, and I was left alone in the living room, looking at pictures of Lucy. The days after that were the darkest of my life. I'd get up with no energy, work with no energy, come home with no energy. Everything reminded me of her. Her chair in the kitchen, her plants on the patio, her side of the bed. Empty. So empty. And the boys. The boys went on with their lives, as if nothing had happened. I thought their mother's death would change them, that they would mature, that they would realize how fragile life is. But no. Ryan kept not working. Jason kept partying. And I stayed alone. More alone than ever. I shook off those memories. I didn't want to think about that. Not today. But it was inevitable. Because everything that was happening now, all of it, came from there. From that promise I made to Lucy. From that take care of them, she asked of me. And I had. I had taken care of them. I had given them everything. But they had done nothing for me. I got out of bed, got dressed, and went down to the kitchen. Ryan was there, eating cereal, with his feet on the table. Again. Get your feet down, I said. He looked at me, annoyed, but he put them down. What's with you lately, Dad? You're in such a mood. What's with me? You're really asking me that? There are 5 days left, I said. He laughed. Oh, Dad, just drop it. You know you're not going to do anything. I looked him straight in the eye. Try me. He stopped laughing. For a second I saw something in his face. Doubt? Fear? I don't know. But it was gone fast. Whatever, he said, and kept eating his cereal. That afternoon I went for a walk. I needed to clear my head. I went to the cemetery, to Lucy's grave. I brought flowers. Like always. I put them in the vase. I sat on the grass, next to the headstone. Lucy, I failed you, I said. I promised you I'd take care of them. And I did. But I took care of them so much that I spoiled them. I turned them into men who can't stand on their own, who don't respect anything. And I don't know if that's my fault or theirs. The wind blew, softly, and I felt something. I felt as if she was telling me it wasn't my fault, that I had done the best I could. That now, it was my turn to do what I had to do. Even if it hurt, even if they didn't understand. I stayed there for an hour, maybe more. When I got back to the house, it was dark. Jason was leaving, dressed up, smelling like cologne. Where are you going? I asked. To a party. Do you have money? No, but my friends are paying. Of course, your friends are paying. Why do you never have money? Because you spend everything. He left. The door slammed, and I just stood there. In the living room, looking at the house I had built. The house that was supposed to be our home, our refuge. And now it was my prison, my burden, my punishment. 5 days. Just 5 more days. And everything was going to change. Day 28. 2 days left. 2 days until the deadline. And I had made a decision. A decision with no turning back. That morning, I got up at 5. Before sunrise, I got dressed, and I left the house, without making a sound, without waking anyone. I went to the bus station. I bought a ticket. For the 30th. A one-way ticket. To Austin. I have a cousin there, Frank. I haven't seen him in years. But we talk on the phone now and then. I called him last week. I told him everything. Cousin, can I stay with you for a while? Just until I get my situation sorted out. Of course, Henry. This is your house. Come whenever you want. I put the ticket in my wallet. I touched it, just to make sure it was real. That this was really happening. I went back to the house. It was 7. Ryan was still asleep. Jason, too. I made coffee. For the last time in this kitchen. At least for now. And I waited. I waited for the sun to come up. I waited for my sons to wake up. Even though I knew I wouldn't see them. Because my bus left at 7. And they never got up before 10. I walked through the house. One last time. I touched the walls. The ones I had raised. I looked at the patio. Lucy's plants. Still blooming. I went into the living room. I saw the photos on the shelf, from when we were a family, a happy family. I'm sorry, my love, I said to Lucy's picture. I tried. I really did. At 6:30, I picked up my suitcase. I opened the door, and I walked out. The sun was just rising. The cool air hit my face. And for one moment, I hesitated. Was I doing the right thing? Or was I a coward? A bad father? I didn't know, but it was too late to doubt. I locked the door, and I started walking. To the bus stop, to the station, to my new life. Or maybe, to my end. I didn't know, but I had to try. I had to save myself, because nobody else was going to. Ryan woke up around 11 in the morning, as always. He got up, went to the bathroom, went down to the kitchen, looking for coffee, looking for breakfast, looking for me, but I wasn't there. The house was silent, a strange silence, different. "Dad!" he yelled. Nothing. "Dad!" Nothing again. He went upstairs, knocked on my door. Nothing. He opened it. The bed was made. The closet was open, empty in some parts. And then he saw it. The suitcase was gone. My backpack was gone. The pictures of Lucy that were always on the nightstand were gone. "What the hell?" he muttered. He ran downstairs, looked in the living room, the patio, the garage. Nothing. I was gone. That's when he saw the envelope on the kitchen table with their names on it. He grabbed it, opened it, and started to read. His eyes moved fast, from left to right, and as he read, his face changed. From confusion to disbelief. From disbelief to anger. "Jason!" he yelled. "Jason, wake up!" He ran up the stairs, burst into his brother's room, shook him. "What do you want?" Jason said, half asleep. "Read this," Ryan said. He shoved the letter in his face. Jason took it, still half asleep. He started to read, and suddenly he was wide awake. "No way," he said. "He left?" "That's what it says," Ryan answered. "But where did he go?" "It doesn't say. It just says he left, that he couldn't take it anymore." "This is bullshit." "It's not bullshit," Jason said. "It's real." They looked at each other, both of them, and for the first time in a long time, I saw fear in their eyes. Real fear. Ryan pulled out his phone, dialed my number. Once, twice, 3 times. Straight to voicemail. "He's not answering," he said. "You call him." Jason tried. Same thing. Voicemail. "Damn it," Ryan said. "What do we do now?" "I don't know," Jason said. "But this can't be serious. He'll be back. He probably just went for a walk, to cool off." The hours passed, noon, afternoon, night, and I didn't come back. Ryan paced back and forth, nervous. Jason sat in the living room, quiet, processing. "Do you think he really left?" Jason asked. "I don't know," Ryan said. "But if he did, we're screwed." "Why?" "Because he pays for everything, you idiot. Everything. The lights, the water, the gas, the food, everything." Jason went quiet. Because it was true, and they had never thought about it. They had never stopped to think that everything they had, everything they used, came from me, from my pension, from my work, from my effort. "He'll be back," Jason said, trying to convince himself. "He has to come back." Day 30 passed, the last day of the deadline, and I didn't come back. Ryan called some relatives, uncles, cousins. "Have you seen my dad?" No, no one had seen me. No one knew where I was. "Did something happen?" they asked. "No, I need to talk to him." He hung up, frustrated, scared. That night, neither of them went out. They stayed home, waiting for me to come back, to open the door, to say, "I'm home, I just wanted to scare you." But I didn't come back, and the house felt empty, emptier than ever. The next day, day 31, the electric bill arrived. Jason got it from the mailbox. He opened it. $460. "Holy," he said. He showed the bill to Ryan. "How much do you have?" he asked. "Nothing," Ryan said. "What about you?" $20. "That's not enough." "I know. They sat in the living room, both of them, staring at the bill. And for the first time, for the very first time, they realized they had been living in a bubble that I had created for them. And now that bubble had burst, and they were alone, with no idea what to do. "We have to find him," Jason said. "How?" Ryan asked. "We don't know where he is." "Well, let's go to the police. Report him missing." "He's not missing. He left. He said so in the letter." "It's not the same." Jason ran his hands over his face, frustrated. "So what do we do?" Ryan got up, walked to his dad's room. "My room." He went in, and just stood there, looking. The empty bed, the half-empty closet, the walls full of pictures. Of Lucy, of them as kids, of the family they used to be. And he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Guilt, deep guilt. "This is all my fault," he said, his voice low. Jason heard him from the hallway. He came in. "It's not your fault." "Yes, it is," Ryan said. "It's both of ours. We treated him like crap, and he took it. He took all of it, and we just took advantage." They sat on the bed, both of them, on my bed. And for the first time in a long time, they talked, really talked. "Remember when we were kids?" Jason asked. "Yeah. Remember how Dad worked all day? And he'd still come home and play with us, help us with homework, take us to the park." "Yeah," Ryan said. "When did we stop seeing him? When did he become invisible to us?" They had no answer, because they didn't know. It had happened gradually, little by little, without them realizing, until one day. I was just the old man who paid the bills, who cleaned, who put up with it, and nothing more. "We made a mistake," Jason said. "A really big mistake." 3 more days passed. I still hadn't shown up, hadn't answered the phone, hadn't come back. The bills started piling up. Water, internet, gas, and they had no money to pay for any of it. Nothing. They started rationing the food left in the pantry. Rice, beans, the basics, because they couldn't afford to buy more. Ryan went out to look for a job. For real. For the first time in years. He went to workshops, to stores, anywhere. "Do you have experience?" they asked. "A little." "We're sorry. We're looking for someone with more experience." Door after door. Rejection after rejection. And he kept trying. Jason asked for more hours at the store. "We only have what you've got," his boss said. "Nothing else?" "Nothing else." He left there frustrated, desperate, and for the first time, he understood. He understood how hard it was, how hard it had been for me all these years. To work, to maintain a house, to support them. One night, sitting in the dark because they had turned off all the lights to save electricity, Jason said, "Do you think he'll come back?" Ryan didn't answer right away. He thought for a moment. And then he said, "I don't know. But if he doesn't, we deserve it." And he was right. They deserved it. I was in Austin, at my cousin Frank's house. A small house, humble, but quiet. So quiet. I had been there a week, 7 days since I left everything behind. And for the first time in years, I was sleeping well. No noise, no waking up at 4 in the morning to Jason coming home drunk. No stress, no worries. Frank welcomed me with open arms. "Cousin, this is your house. Stay as long as you need." He gave me a room, small, with a bed, a closet, a window that looked out on the patio. It was all I needed. "Thank you, Frank," I said. "You don't know how much I appreciate this." "Nothing to appreciate. We're family." The first few days were weird. I'd wake up early out of habit, expecting to have to clean, to cook, to solve some problem. But there was nothing to solve. Frank lived alone. He was a widower, like me. His wife died 10 years ago. Never had kids. "Sometimes I think it was a blessing," he told me one night. "Why?" I asked. "Because there's nothing more painful than giving your children everything and having them not appreciate it." I stayed quiet, because he was right. "Do you miss them?" he asked. "Sometimes," I said. "But I don't miss how they treated me. I miss what they could have been, what I wanted them to be." "They can still change," Frank said. Maybe. Or maybe not. It's not up to me anymore. My phone would ring sometimes. Missed calls from Ryan. From Jason. Texts. Dad, where are you? Dad, please answer. Dad, we're sorry. But I didn't answer. Not yet. I needed this time, this space, to think, to heal, to remember who I was before I became their bank and their maid. Frank had a small workshop in his backyard. He made furniture, like me. Want to help? He asked one day. I could use an extra pair of hands. Sure, I said. And I started working with him, sanding wood, cutting, assembling, and I realized something. I realized how much I had missed this. The smell of the wood, the sound of the tools, the satisfaction of creating something with my hands. You're good, Frank said. Really good. I did this for 42 years, I said. I know. It shows. We worked together all afternoon, and when we finished, I felt good. I felt useful. But not in the bad way. Not like at home, where I was only useful for paying and cleaning, but useful because I was creating, because I was contributing something of value. At night, Frank and I would have dinner together. Simple food, but good. And we'd talk about life, about the past, about our wives. What do you think Lucy would say about all this? He asked me one night. I thought about it. I don't know, I said. Maybe she'd scold me, tell me I'm a bad father for leaving them. Or maybe she'd tell you that you did the right thing. Maybe. Another week passed. 2 weeks since I'd left. My phone kept ringing, less than before. But still, the messages changed tone. They weren't just answer or, where are you? Now they were different. Dad, the power is about to be shut off. Dad, we have no food. Dad, we need you. Frank saw them one day. The messages. Are you going to answer? He asked. I don't know, I said. What do I gain by answering? I'll go back, and everything will be the same. Or maybe everything will be different. I doubt it. People change when they hit rock bottom, cousin. And it looks like your sons are hitting rock bottom. One afternoon while I was working in the shop, I got a text from Ryan. Different from the others. Dad, I got a job in a factory. It doesn't pay much, but it's something. Jason is working full-time now. We're trying. We're really trying. I'm not asking you to come back. I just want you to know that we're sorry, that we get it, that you were right, and that I hope someday you can forgive us. I read the message 3 times, and I felt something. Something I didn't expect to feel. Hope. Could it be true? Or were they just telling me what I wanted to hear? I didn't know. But something in that message sounded different. It sounded sincere. I showed the message to Frank. He read it, and he smiled. See? I told you. But I wasn't ready to go back. Not yet. I needed more time. I needed to be sure. Because if I went back and nothing had changed, I wouldn't be able to take it. I wouldn't have the strength to leave again. What are you going to do? Frank asked. I don't know yet, I said. But something tells me I'll know soon. That night I couldn't sleep. I thought about my sons, about the house, about everything I had left. And I wondered, did I do the right thing? Or should I have stayed? Should I have kept putting up with it? I had no answers. Only doubts. Doubts and a deep pain in my chest. The next day, I got another message. From Jason this time. Dad, I know I don't deserve for you to answer. I know I screwed up. That we both screwed up. But I want you to know something. I went to see Mom at her grave, and I talked to her. I told her everything I never told her when she was alive. And I asked her for forgiveness. And I'm asking you for forgiveness too. For everything. For not valuing you. For treating you badly. For being a bad son. I'm changing, Dad, for real. And I know it might be too late. But I want you to know. I closed my eyes. And the tears came. Because those were the words I had been waiting to hear for years. But now that I heard them, I didn't know what to do with them. Did I believe them? Or was it just desperation? Frank put his hand on my shoulder. Time will tell if it's sincere or not, cousin. But at least they're trying. That's more than they were doing before. He was right. They were trying. But was it enough? Was it enough for me to go back? I still didn't know. but something inside me was starting to soften. Just a little. A whole month passed. 30 days since I left Peoria. And in that time, I had changed. Or maybe I hadn't changed. Maybe I just went back to being who I was before. Before I became the man who put up with everything. The man who said yes to everything. The man who had forgotten himself. Frank and I kept working together. We had finished 3 pieces of furniture. A table, 2 chairs. We sold them at the market. And we made good money. We should do this more often, Frank said. We make a good team. We do, I said. And it was true. I liked working with him. I liked this simple life. No complications. No drama. But the messages kept coming. Every 3 days. Sometimes every 2. Ryan sent me pictures of paid bills. Look, Dad. I paid the electricity this month. Another picture. I paid the water. And another. I bought groceries. He wasn't asking for anything. He was just showing me, proving to me, that he was doing it, that he was being responsible. Jason sent me more personal messages. Dad, I cleaned the whole house, like you used to. Dad, I cooked something. It came out bad, but I tried. Dad, I miss your coffee. Nobody makes coffee like you. They were small, simple messages, but sincere, and each one broke my heart a little. One afternoon, while I was sanding a board, Frank said, "How much longer are you going to wait?" "What do you mean?" "To go back. To see if what they're telling you is true." "I don't know," I said. "Are you afraid?" "Afraid of what?" "That they haven't changed. That it's all a lie." I was quiet. Because I was. I was afraid. Afraid of going back and finding everything the same. Afraid of being the same fool all over again. The same one who takes it. The same one who forgives, without anything changing. "Cousin," Frank said, "sometimes you have to take a risk. You have to give second chances, but on your terms, not theirs." That night I sat on the patio, under the stars, and I thought about Lucy, about what she would tell me. And then I heard her voice, in my head, clear, as if she was there. "Henry, give them a chance, but don't be the same. Don't allow the same things. Go back as the strong man you are, not the one you were." The next day I answered Ryan. For the first time in a month, "Son, I've seen your messages, all of them, and I see that you're trying. That gives me hope. But I need to know something. Is this real, or is it just because I left? Because if I come back, and you go back to being the same, I won't be able to take it. I won't endure it again." The reply came fast. "Dad, it's real. I swear on Mom. It's real. We get it. We understood everything, and we want you to come back, but only if you want to. Only if you're ready. The house is yours. It's always been yours. And us? We want to earn your respect again. Your trust. We want you to be proud of us." I read the message over and over, and I felt something. I felt that maybe, just maybe, it was time. It was time to go back. Not because they needed me, but because I needed to see. I needed to check. I needed to close this chapter, one way or another. "I'm going back," I told Frank that night. "Are you sure?" "Yes, I'm sure." I packed my things, the same suitcase I arrived with. Frank hugged me. "It was a pleasure having you here, cousin." "For me too," I said. "And if things don't work out, you know you have a place here." "I know, thank you. Now go, and do what you have to do." I bought my return ticket. For the next day, I sent Ryan a message. "I'm coming back tomorrow, but I need you to know something. Things are going to be different. I am going to be different. And you have to be different too. If you're not ready for that, tell me now." The response was immediate. "We're ready, Dad. We'll be waiting." I didn't sleep that night. I thought about everything that had happened, everything that was going to happen, and I prepared myself, mentally, emotionally, because I knew going back wouldn't be easy, that there would be difficult conversations, uncomfortable moments, but I had to do it. I had to try, for them, but most of all, for me. The bus ride was 6 hours, 6 long hours, staring out the window, watching the landscape change, and thinking thinking about what I was going to say, how I was going to act, what I expected to find. I got to Peoria around 4 in the afternoon. I took a taxi. I gave him the address. My address. And as we got closer, my heart beat faster. The taxi stopped in front of the house. My house. It looked different. Cleaner. The grass was cut. The windows were shining. Someone had been taking care of it. I paid the driver, got my suitcase, and I just stood there, staring at the door, breathing deep. Before I could knock, the door opened. It was Ryan. Thinner. Dark circles under his eyes. But his eyes were bright. "Dad!" he said, and his voice cracked. Behind him, Jason appeared. Same. Thinner. Tired. But different. There was something in his eyes. Something I hadn't seen in years. Humility. Respect. Fear. Of losing me. I didn't say anything. Not yet. I just walked in. They stepped aside. The house was clean. All of it. The floor was shining. No dirty dishes. No bottles. No mess. "We did it," Jason said. "We cleaned everything." I put my suitcase on the floor. And I looked at them. Both of them. My sons. And I saw something. I saw men. Not kids. Not parasites. Men. "Sit down," I said. "We need to talk." We sat in the living room, the three of us. Me in my armchair, the one that had always been mine. Them on the sofa, in front of me, hands on their knees, nervous, waiting. The silence was heavy, uncomfortable, but necessary. Because there were things that needed to be said, things that had waited too long. "Dad," Ryan started. I cut him off, raising my hand. "No, I talk first. You're going to listen, and when I'm done, then you can talk." They nodded, both of them, like scolded children, but this time they were paying attention. Real attention. "I left because I couldn't take it anymore," I began. "Not because I didn't love you, not because I'm a bad father. I left because I was dying. Inside, every day I spent here, feeling invisible, feeling used. I died a little more." My voice broke. But I continued. "You saw me as a bank, as a maid, not as your father, and that hurt more than you can imagine." Jason's eyes were red. Ryan was looking at the floor. "I gave you everything," I continued. "Everything I could. Everything I had. I built this house for you. I worked 42 years to give you a better life, so you wouldn't suffer what I suffered. And the only thing I asked, the only thing I wanted, was respect. Consideration. For you to value me." I wiped the tears that were starting to fall. But I never got it. Never. "Dad," Jason said. His voice was trembling. "We're sorry. We really are. We're so sorry." "I don't want you to be sorry," I said. "I want you to understand what you did to me." Ryan looked up. His eyes were wet too. "We understand, Dad. Now, we understand. When Mom passed," he said, "I expected you to change, to mature, to realize how fragile life is. But you didn't. You stayed the same, or worse." I stood up, started pacing. "Do you know what the saddest part is? Your mother asked me to take care of you. It was the last thing she asked me, and I did. But I took care of you so much that I ruined you. I turned you into men who can't stand on their own. And that's my fault too." "No, Dad," Ryan said, standing up. "It's not your fault. It's ours. We chose to take advantage. We chose to be ungrateful. You just loved us. Too much, maybe. But that doesn't make you guilty." I stopped. I looked at him, and I saw something in his eyes. Sincerity, pain, real regret. "When you left," Ryan continued, "it was like a bucket of cold water hit us. Suddenly, we had to do everything. Pay, clean, cook, work, for real. And we realized everything you did, everything you put up with, and we felt like the worst garbage in the world." His voice broke, because that's what we were. Garbage. Jason stood up too. "Dad, I went to see Mom, at her grave, and I talked to her. I asked her for forgiveness, for not being there when she needed us most, for being a coward. And I also promised her something. I promised her I was going to change, that I was going to be the son she would have wanted me to be, the one you deserve. I sat down again, tired, emotionally exhausted. How do I know it's true? I asked them. How do I know you're not just telling me what I want to hear? You don't, Ryan said. Only time will prove it, but we can show you something. Ryan went to his room. He came back with some papers. He gave them to me. They were receipts for electricity, water, gas, internet, all paid. I got a job at a textile factory, he said. The shift is tough, 6 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon, and it doesn't pay much, but it's honest, and it's mine. Jason took other papers out of his pocket. I got full-time at the store, and I'm saving. Look. He showed me a bank statement from an account in his name with $200 saved. $200 in 1 month, he said. It's not much, I know, but I've never saved anything. Ever. And now I know what it feels like. What it feels like to build something. Little by little, I looked at them, both of them, and something inside me softened. There was still distrust, still pain, but also there was hope. If I'm going to stay, I said, it's going to be under my rules, my conditions. Whatever they are, Dad, Ryan said. Whatever you say. First rule, I said. You're going to keep working, both of you. I don't want excuses, no laziness. If you lose your job, you find another one, immediately. Yes, Dad, they said in unison. Second rule, you're going to contribute to the household expenses. We're going to do the math, together, and everyone pays their share, equally. Yes, Dad. Third rule, respect. Respect for this house, respect for me. No more coming home drunk. No more making a mess. No more leaving everything dirty. This is my house. And as long as you live here, you'll follow my rules. Understood, Dad. And the fourth rule, I said, and this one was the most important. If you fail me again, if you disrespect me again, I'm leaving. And this time, I'm not coming back. Is that clear? They looked at each other, and then they looked at me. It's clear, Dad, they said. We won't fail you. We promise. I stood up. I looked at them, and for the first time in a long time, I hugged them. I really hugged them. And they hugged me back, tight, as if they were afraid to let go, afraid I would leave again. I love you, I said. I've always loved you. But love isn't enough. There also has to be respect, responsibility, and that you have to earn. We will earn it, Dad, Jason said through tears. We swear. And in that moment, in that hug, I felt something. I felt that maybe, just maybe, we were going to be okay. Not right away, not magically, but with time, with effort, with a real desire to change. We stayed like that for a while, hugging, the three of us, a family, broken, but trying to put itself back together. And that was a start. It's been 6 months since I came back. 6 months that have changed everything, or almost everything. Because real change, true change, doesn't happen overnight. It's slow. It's hard. It's falling and getting back up. It's trying and failing, and trying again. But my sons have done it. They're doing it. Ryan is still working at the factory. He gets up at 5 in the morning, showers, eats breakfast, and leaves. Every day. Without fail, he already got promoted. He's a line supervisor now. He earns a little more. And he's proud. I see it in his eyes, that pride, of earning his own money, of standing on his own, of being a real man. Jason is still at the store too, but now he's a manager. They put him in charge of the afternoon shift. And him? He takes it seriously. He doesn't come home drunk anymore. He doesn't go out partying every weekend. Now he goes out once a month, maybe twice, and he comes home early, sober, respectful. We do the accounts together. Every payday, we sit at the kitchen table, with the receipts, with the bills, and we split everything, 3 ways, equally. They pay their part, I pay mine, and there's always something left over, something we save, for emergencies, for repairs, for the house. Our house. The house is different too, cleaner, more organized, more alive. Ryan planted some plants in the patio, where Lucy's used to be. I want Mom to be proud, he told me, and I helped him. We planted them together, and now they're growing, blooming, like everything here. On Sundays we have breakfast together, the three of us. I make the coffee, they make the eggs, the toast, and we sit at the table, and we talk. We really talk about their jobs, their plans, about life. And I listen to them, and I feel proud. So proud of the men they are becoming. Not everything has been perfect. There were relapses, there were fights, there were hard moments. Like the time Ryan lost his temper because they denied him a raise. He came home in a bad mood, threw things, yelled, but I didn't let it slide. I understand you're angry, I told him, but you're not going to take it out here. Not on me. Not in this house. He apologized. That same night. And it didn't happen again. Or when Jason came home late one Friday, smelling like beer. Not drunk. But he had been drinking. What about the rules? I asked him. I know, Dad. I know. But it was a co-worker's birthday, and I had 2 beers. Just 2. I swear. I looked at him, straight in the eye, and I saw the truth. All right, I said. But next time, let me know, so I don't worry. Yes, Dad. I'm sorry. 3 months ago, something happened. Something important. Ryan met a girl. Sarah, a co-worker. He brought her to the house. Dad, this is Sarah, my girlfriend. I greeted her. She was a nice girl, polite, respectful, hard-working. Nice to meet you, Mr. Miller, she said. Ryan has told me a lot about you. We had dinner together, the 4 of us, because Jason was there too. And it was nice. So nice to see my son happy, in love, with plans, with a future. Dad, Ryan told me after Sarah left, I'm thinking about looking for an apartment, for Sarah and me. We want to live together, and instead of feeling sad, I felt relieved, proud, because that's what I wanted. For them to grow, to fly, to make their own lives. That sounds good, son, I said, but don't rush. Do it when you're ready, when you have enough saved. Jason has changed too. A month ago, he enrolled in college, online, to finish his degree. Business administration. I want to learn more, Dad, he told me. I want to grow, have better opportunities, and I support him. I help him with his homework when he asks, even though I don't know much about that stuff anymore. But I'm there, present. The other day, the 3 of us went to the cemetery to visit Lucy. We brought flowers, we cleaned the grave, and we talked to her, all 3 of us. Mom, Ryan said, I hope you're proud of us. We're trying. We really are. Jason wiped away his tears. We miss you, Mom, every day. And me? I just held my hand on the headstone, and I thanked her. Thank you, my love, for giving me these sons, and for teaching me to be strong. Now, as I write this in my head, as I remember everything that happened, I realize something. I realize that sometimes love isn't about giving everything. Sometimes love is about setting limits. It's saying no. It's letting them fall so they can learn to get back up. Because I love them so much that I almost destroyed them. I almost destroyed all of us. But I left. I made the hardest decision of my life. And even though it hurt, even though I cried, even though I doubted it 1,000 times, it was the right thing. Because now I have my sons back, but not as they were, but as they should have been all along, as men, as responsible people, as human beings who respect me, who value me, who truly love me. Was it worth it? Yes. 1,000 times, yes. Because I got my life back. I got my dignity back. I got my sons back. And even though the road was painful, even though there were moments when I thought it wouldn't work, here we are, the 3 of us, together, but different, better. And if you're listening to this and you're going through something similar, I want you to know something. It's not too late. It's never too late to set limits, to demand respect, to love yourself too. Because self-love isn't selfishness. It's survival. It's a necessity. It's what keeps you alive. My sons took a lot from me. My peace, my tranquility, my mental health. But I gave them the chance to change, and they took it. Not everyone does, I know, but it's worth the try. It's worth fighting for your happiness, for your respect, for your life. And now you tell me, if you were in my place, what would you have done? Would you have stayed and put up with it? Or would you have had the courage to leave? Think about it. And remember, it's never too late to start over. Never. And one more thing. I'd like to know, what part of the world are you listening from? Tell me. Because stories like this, stories of pain, of struggle, of survival, they connect us all, no matter where we're from. Thank you for listening. Truly, thank you for joining me on this path. And remember, respect is earned, love is cared for, and dignity is never up for negotiation.